Living in a community governed by a homeowners association, or HOA, can be both a blessing and a curse. For many, it offers a sense of security and shared responsibility for maintaining property values. However, it also comes with a set of rules and restrictions that can sometimes feel stifling. My experience with the HOA began simply enough, as I sought to enhance my outdoor space. It was a simple wish to add a porch swing to my front patio, a charming addition that would invite relaxation and enjoyment of the beautiful days ahead. The idea of having a swing to cradle me in gentle motion while I read a book or sipped my morning coffee seemed idyllic. I envisioned lazy afternoons spent swaying back and forth, perhaps with my children playing nearby or friends dropping by for a casual chat. To me, it represented the essence of suburban life, comfort, warmth, and connection with neighbors. So, with excitement bubbling inside me, I set out to make this vision a reality. However, my enthusiasm quickly turned to disappointment when I received the dreaded notification from the HOA. It arrived in my mailbox one afternoon, a crisp white envelope marked with an official seal that instantly made my heart sink. As I opened it and read through the contents, I felt my stomach twist into knots. The HOA had deemed my request for a porch swing unacceptable due to aesthetic concerns and compliance with community standards. Their reasoning was vague at best, but ultimately centered around maintaining uniformity within the neighborhood's appearance. I was baffled. How could a simple porch swing disrupt the community's aesthetic? After all, it was an innocent addition designed to enhance my home's charm rather than detract from it. Other homes in our neighborhood boasted various outdoor structures, gardens, pergolas, and even elaborate decorations for holidays. But apparently, my longing for something as classic as a swing was out of bounds. As I processed this news, frustration bubbled within me. The HOA's restrictions felt like an overreach into my personal space and preferences. I had always believed that our homes should be reflections of our personalities and desires. Yet here was an organization telling me how I could or couldn't enjoy my own property. In the days that followed, I found myself grappling with feelings of disappointment and anger. The porch swing represented more than just a piece of furniture. It symbolized leisure, joy, and quality time spent outdoors with loved ones. With this dream seemingly crushed by bureaucratic limitations, I wondered what alternatives were left for someone like me who craved an outdoor retreat. It was during these moments of contemplation that inspiration struck. Perhaps there was another way to create my personal haven without defying HOA regulations outright. What if instead of focusing on a swing that clearly didn't fit within their guidelines, I designed something entirely different? Something creative that would not only allow me to enjoy the outdoors, but also sidestep the constraints imposed upon me. That's when the idea of building a multi-level treehouse lounge took root in my mind. A treehouse could be whimsical yet functional, a space where I could relax high above the ground while being embraced by nature. Unlike a porch swing, which could easily be classified as an outdoor structure subject to HOA scrutiny, a treehouse could blend seamlessly into the landscape and offer an escape without overtly challenging the rules. As this new vision blossomed in my imagination, excitement began to replace my earlier frustration. The prospect of designing and constructing something unique reignited my passion for creativity. I envisioned not just one level, but multiple tiers that would provide various lounging spots, perhaps a cozy nook at the top for reading and birdwatching, while lower levels might serve as play areas for my kids or gathering spaces for friends. Thinking about this treehouse ignited a fire within me that I hadn't felt in quite some time. It felt empowering to shift from being confined by restrictions to embracing creativity and resourcefulness. Instead of succumbing to disappointment over an inconsequential ban on a swing, I was ready to embark on an exciting new project that would give me ownership over my outdoor experience. This initial spark set off a chain reaction of ideas and plans that would ultimately lead me down an unexpected path of transformation, not only for my yard, but also for how I viewed restrictions imposed by others on my personal freedom. Little did I know then that this decision would evolve into something far beyond just an outdoor structure. It would become a statement about resilience, creativity, and finding joy against all odds. With renewed determination swirling inside me, I began sketching designs for this new venture, A multi-level treehouse lounge that would become not just an alternative to the porch swing, but an expression of who I am as both a homeowner and an individual eager to embrace life fully in every season. As I sat in my living room, the sunlight streaming through the windows, I couldn't help but think about the outdoor space that lay just beyond my door. The warm breeze rustled the leaves outside, and the calls of birds created a symphony of nature that beckoned me to step outside. It was in these moments that I felt an undeniable yearning for a sanctuary where I could unwind, relax, and connect with both nature and my family. The desire for outdoor relaxation had always been a part of my life. Growing up, my childhood home featured a spacious yard with a large tree that provided ample shade. My siblings and I would spend countless summer afternoons swinging from its sturdy branches or laying on blankets while sharing stories. Those memories of carefree days spent outdoors instilled in me a deep appreciation for nature and the simple joys it brings. Now, as an adult, I long to create similar experiences for my own family. The thought of having a porch swing, a classic symbol of leisure, invoked feelings of nostalgia and warmth. I envision evenings spent gently swaying back and forth while sipping iced tea, laughing with friends, or watching my children play in the yard. It was more than just a piece of furniture. It represented a lifestyle steeped in relaxation and togetherness. However, after receiving the HOA's rejection of my porch swing idea, that vision felt increasingly out of reach. It wasn't just about having a swing anymore. It was about the emotional connection to outdoor spaces, the yearning to carve out moments of tranquility amid our busy lives. The modern world often pulls us in countless directions, leaving little time for stillness and reflection. Having a designated spot where I could escape to nature felt essential for both my mental well-being and my family's happiness. With every passing day, as I gazed at the empty space on my porch, I felt the weight of this desire grow heavier. It was frustrating to know that something as simple as a swing was restricted by regulations intended to maintain uniformity within our community. The irony wasn't lost on me. While rules were meant to promote order, they also stifled creativity and individuality, qualities that should flourish in personal spaces. My mind constantly wandered back to the idyllic scenes I'd imagined. Mornings spent greeted by soft sunlight filtering through leaves, afternoons filled with laughter as children played tag around the yard, and evenings wrapped in cozy blankets under starlit skies. Those images fueled my determination to find another way to create an inviting outdoor area, a space where relaxation would reign supreme. As thoughts swirled in my mind, inspiration began to take shape. What if I expanded my vision beyond a simple porch swing? Instead of confining myself to traditional expectations dictated by HOA guidelines, what if I designed something entirely new? A multi-level treehouse lounge could provide not only the relaxation I sought, but also an adventurous twist that engaged both children and adults alike. With this new vision coursing through me like electricity, I began to imagine how I could transform my yard into an inviting haven that would draw family and friends outside. Picture it, a whimsical treehouse nestled among branches, with cozy seating areas at different heights offering unique perspectives on our garden below. The top level could become a lookout point where we could observe birds flitting between trees or simply enjoy sunset views, all while embracing that cherished feeling of being outdoors. This shift in perspective opened up exciting possibilities. Rather than being confined by HOA restrictions, I would create something that spoke to my family's spirit, a delightful retreat where we could gather together away from screens and distractions. Each level of the treehouse would be designed for specific activities. Perhaps one area would be perfect for reading and daydreaming, while another would serve as a playful nook where kids could let their imaginations run wild. I envisioned decorating it with vibrant cushions, string lights twinkling overhead like stars, and perhaps even incorporating climbing ropes or slides for extra fun. My heart raced at the thought of hosting small gatherings there, friends perched on swings or hammocks, while we shared stories and laughter beneath the sheltering canopy of leaves above us. Ultimately, this dream became about more than just creating a physical space. It embodied our family's desire for connection, both with each other and with nature itself. In an age where life often feels hurried and chaotic, this multi-level treehouse lounge would serve as our sanctuary, a reminder to slow down and savor life's moments together. As I began sketching out plans for the treehouse concept, excitement bubbled within me. A sense of purpose fueled by this longing for outdoor relaxation transformed into an opportunity for creativity and innovation. What started as disappointment over a banned porch swing had evolved into an adventurous project that promised not only fulfillment but also countless cherished memories awaiting to be made under open skies. With determination guiding me forward, I was ready to take on this challenge, to bring my vision to life amidst the natural beauty surrounding our home, and finally create that much-desired oasis where relaxation flourished alongside laughter and love. As I sat in my living room mulling over the HOA's restrictions, a familiar feeling began to creep in, a blend of frustration and determination. The idea of having a porch swing had been abruptly snatched away, but rather than wallowing in disappointment, I felt a spark of creativity igniting within me. It was as if the universe was nudging me toward a new path, one filled with possibilities that I had yet to explore. One sunny afternoon, while taking a stroll through my neighborhood, inspiration struck unexpectedly. As I wandered past houses adorned with charming gardens and unique outdoor features, I caught sight of a whimsical treehouse tucked among the branches of a towering oak. It was an enchanting sight, with its rustic wooden frame, rope ladder, and colorful flags fluttering in the breeze. The moment I laid eyes on it, I felt an overwhelming wave of excitement wash over me. This was what I wanted, this sense of adventure and creativity embodied in a structure that defied the mundane. That treehouse stood as a testament to imagination and freedom. It reminded me of childhood days spent climbing trees, exploring hidden corners of the yard, and building forts from blankets and pillows. The thought of creating something similar ignited my passion anew. A multi-level treehouse lounge could not only serve as an alternative to the porch swing, but would also become a magical escape where my family could gather and create memories together. With this vision taking root in my mind, I rushed home to sketch out my ideas. Armed with graph paper and colored pencils, I began designing what would ultimately become our multi-level treehouse lounge. The first level would feature cozy seating arrangements, perhaps a hammock chair for lazy afternoons and some cushions where we could lounge with snacks and drinks. The second level could be slightly higher up, providing an inviting nook for reading or stargazing at night. As I sketched out each detail, my excitement grew. My mind raced with possibilities. How could I incorporate fun elements like slides or climbing ropes? What if I added fairy lights strung around the edges for magical evenings spent outside? Each new idea brought with it a sense of freedom, a departure from the limitations imposed by the HOA's rules that had initially felt so insurmountable. That evening, as dusk settled over our neighborhood, I took my sketches outside to enjoy the fresh air. Sitting on my patio steps, surrounded by nature's sounds, the rustling leaves and distant chirping crickets, I felt more connected to my vision than ever before. The air was filled with potential, and I knew that this treehouse would not only be an escape for me, but also a place for my children to explore their own imaginations. Days turned into weeks as I refined my plans. I researched various designs online and explored DIY forums that shared tips on building treehouses. Each new piece of information fueled my ambition further. After all, this project wasn't just about constructing a structure. It was about creating a space where joy could flourish, a sanctuary that would bring our family closer together. To solidify this newfound inspiration, I invited my children into the process. One Saturday morning, we gathered around a kitchen table armed with colorful markers and paper to brainstorm ideas together. They were immediately drawn in by the notion of having their own special place among the trees. Their eyes lit up as they suggested adding swings hanging from the branches or even a small slide leading down to our yard. Listening to their enthusiastic chatter ignited something within me, a realization that this project could become a collaborative effort that would knit us closer as a family. We began discussing what each level might look like and how we could personalize it with decorations or artwork created by them. The thrill of seeing their imaginations take flight alongside mine made every ounce of effort seem worthwhile. As we pieced together our collective vision for the Treehouse Lounge, something miraculous began to unfold. Hope replaced frustration, Creativity replaced confinement. Adventure replaced disappointment. Every time we met around that kitchen table to sketch or brainstorm ideas felt like another step toward transforming our dream into reality. With newfound determination coursing through my veins, I set out on what would become an exhilarating journey of design and construction, one filled with both challenges and rewards along the way. The inspiration had transformed into action. What started as an obstacle had turned into an opportunity for growth, for me personally as well as for our family unit. The multi-level treehouse lounge wasn't just going to be another addition to our home. It was evolving into something much grander, a manifestation of resilience against adversity, the embodiment of turning setbacks into dreams realized amidst nature's embrace. With each passing day fueled by this inspiring vision, I felt ready to dive headfirst into bringing our dream treehouse lounge to life, an adventurous endeavor that promised not only relaxation but also countless cherished moments spent together under open skies. With my vision for the multi-level treehouse lounge firmly rooted in my mind, it was time to transition from daydreaming to planning. This stage would be crucial, as I needed to ensure that my design was not only imaginative but also practical and safe. I gathered my sketches, notes, and a growing list of ideas, ready to map out the details of this ambitious project. The first step in planning the treehouse involved assessing the layout of our yard. I spent several afternoons walking around the space, taking note of the trees that would serve as the foundation for my project. I had a few sturdy candidates in mind, tall oak trees with thick branches that could support the weight of the structure. These trees stood proudly in our backyard, their leaves dancing in the wind and casting dappled shadows on the ground below. They seemed to beckon me to start building. After selecting the perfect trees, I turned my attention to determining how high I wanted each level of the treehouse to be. Safety was paramount. I wanted my children to enjoy this space without any fear of accidents. I envisioned a lower level that would provide easy access for younger kids, perhaps with small ladder or even steps leading up to it. The upper levels would be designed for older children and adults, offering views over our yard and beyond. I settled on 3 distinct levels, a cozy lounging area on the first level, an exploration nook on the second, and a higher observation point at the top. Next came the structural considerations. I researched various designs and construction techniques used for tree houses, diving into online tutorials and forums where experienced builders shared their wisdom. One thing became clear: creating a safe and stable structure was essential. I learned about using beams and supports strategically placed to distribute weight evenly across the trees while ensuring they wouldn't damage the trees themselves. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I sketched out a more detailed blueprint of my treehouse, a plan that included measurements for each level, appropriate spacing for ladder rungs, and potential locations for windows or openings that would let light filter through. The idea was to create a harmonious blend of safety and whimsy. After all, this treehouse should feel like an adventure waiting to unfold. As I worked through these logistical challenges, I also began considering materials. Building a treehouse required not only creativity, but also careful selection of sustainable materials that would withstand time and weather. I opted for pressure-treated wood for its durability against rot and insects while ensuring that all fasteners were rust-resistant. The last thing I wanted was to build something beautiful only for it to deteriorate quickly. In parallel with these technical details, I began planning out how we would decorate and personalize each level of the treehouse. This part excited me immensely. My children had already shared their ideas about swings and slides, but I wanted to go beyond that. What if we created a mural on one wall depicting our family's favorite outdoor scenes, or hung up colorful lanterns that would illuminate our evening gatherings? I made a list of potential decorations and features: comfy cushions adorned with playful patterns for seating areas, shelves made from reclaimed wood where we could display plants or books, maybe even an area dedicated to arts and crafts where we could unleash our creativity together. Each item added another layer of warmth and character that would transform this structure from just a treehouse into a true family retreat. As excitement bubbled within me during this planning phase, I realized that this project wasn't just about constructing a physical space. It was about creating an environment where memories could flourish, a sanctuary filled with laughter, creativity, and connection among us. To further solidify my plans, I reached out to friends who had experience in woodworking or construction. Their advice proved invaluable as they offered insights into best practices for treehouse safety and stability, things I might have overlooked in my enthusiasm. With their guidance, I felt more confident in my design choices. Once everything was laid out on paper, the dimensions of each level, structural support systems, material lists, it was time to compile everything into one cohesive plan. This included creating an estimated budget based on materials needed and tools required for construction. It became evident that this project would require investment, not just financially, but also in terms of time and effort. In anticipation of diving into construction soon, I marked my calendar with key dates, days set aside for purchasing materials, gathering tools, and starting the build itself. The thought of finally seeing this dream take shape fueled my determination further. The planning process unveiled not only practical considerations, but also deeper reflections on what this treehouse represented for us as a family. It was becoming clear that each nail hammered down would symbolize resilience against obstacles faced, especially those imposed by HOA restrictions, and every ounce of effort put into building it would weave our family's story into its very structure. With every detail meticulously planned out, from safety measures to whimsical touches, I felt ready to embark on this journey toward turning dreams into reality. The multi-level treehouse lounge awaited us, a canvas upon which we would paint our adventures together under open skies. The moment had finally arrived. After weeks of planning, sketching, and gathering materials, it was time to bring the multi-level treehouse lounge to life. I stood in the backyard, looking up at the towering oak trees that would support my creation, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Would everything I envisioned translate into reality? Would the structure be as safe and inviting as I hoped? With a deep breath, I gathered my tools, a power drill, saws, screws, and a level, all the essentials needed for this ambitious construction project. My children watched eagerly from the sidelines, their eyes wide with anticipation. They had been involved in every step of the planning process, and were now ready to roll up their sleeves and help make our dream a reality. The first step was to lay the groundwork for stability. I measured and marked where each level of the treehouse would be anchored. Using my power drill, I began attaching large beams to the trees, ensuring they were level and securely fastened. It was crucial to create a solid foundation that would allow us to build upward without compromising safety. The sounds of drilling filled the air as I worked diligently, my focus unwavering. As I attached the base structure, my children joined in by holding beams in place or passing me tools. Their laughter echoed through the yard as they pretended to be construction workers, calling out measurements and offering encouragement. It was heartwarming to see them so engaged. This project was quickly becoming a family affair rather than just my individual endeavor. Once the foundations were secured, I began constructing the first level of the treehouse. This area would serve as our primary lounging space, a cozy retreat where we could gather together. With each plank of wood carefully cut and placed, the frame started to take shape before our eyes. The kids were thrilled when I explained that this level would have a hammock chair for lazy afternoons spent reading or napping. They eagerly imagined themselves swinging gently back and forth while surrounded by nature. Next came the walls and flooring. I chose to leave some openings for windows, small cutouts that would allow sunlight to stream through while providing us with a clear view of our yard below. As I attached each piece of wood, I encouraged my kids to decorate their future windows with drawings or crafts they could hang up later, adding personal touches that would make this space truly ours. The construction process wasn't without its challenges. At one point, as I was hoisting up a particularly heavy beam for the second level, it slipped from my grip and fell with a loud thud on the ground below. My heart raced as I assessed whether any damage had been done or if anyone had been hurt. Thankfully, we were all safe. But it served as a reminder of the importance of caution during this build. After regaining my composure, I reiterated safety protocols with my children. We wore hard hats for extra protection while working around sharp tools or climbing ladders, Every precaution was necessary to ensure we enjoyed this experience without incident. With sturdy walls in place on the first level, it was time to begin constructing the second level, a space meant for exploration and creativity. This area would feature shelves for books and art supplies where we could unleash our imaginations together. As I secured beams into place at an elevated height, my excitement grew. Soon we'd have an entire floor dedicated to artistic endeavors. By now, our treehouse was really taking shape. The sight of 3 levels stacked among branches filled me with pride. Not only was it structurally sound, but it also felt like an extension of our home, our very own sanctuary tucked away in nature's embrace. As we moved on to building the final observation deck at the top, my children couldn't contain their anticipation anymore. They climbed up to peer through windows already installed on lower levels while shouting down ideas for decorations we could add later on, like wind chimes or flower pots hanging from branches nearby. After several days of hard work, balancing labor with laughter, we finally reached a significant milestone, completing the framework for all 3 levels. We stood back together as a family admiring our creation, a magnificent treehouse lounge that promised countless adventures ahead. But we weren't finished yet. The next phase involved personalizing our space further by adding fun features like swings suspended from branches above or slides leading down into soft grass below. A perfect way for kids and adults alike to enjoy their time outdoors even more. As we began installing these playful elements alongside railings for safety precautions around edges, a blend of function and whimsy, we couldn't help but dream about future gatherings filled with laughter echoing through those wooden walls. Finally came time for decoration, the cherry on top. We adorned our newly built lounge with colorful cushions that boasted fun patterns, the vibrant colors reflecting both our personalities and spirit. String lights were hung across beams overhead, creating an enchanting atmosphere when nighttime fell upon us, a perfect complement to magical evenings spent stargazing above. Looking around our handiwork, the laughter shared during construction mingled beautifully with visions yet unrealized. I realized something profound. This treehouse wasn't merely a structure built from wood. It embodied resilience against setbacks faced earlier along this journey, while uniting us together as a family committed toward creating lasting memories under open skies. Building this multi-level treehouse lounge had proven challenging yet rewarding beyond measure. A realization dawning upon me that sometimes obstacles lead us down paths filled with joy if only we embrace creativity amidst adversity. Now complete with every whimsical detail added lovingly, it awaited us patiently ready for adventures yet to unfold. With the treehouse structure complete, I stood back and admired our hard work. The framework of the multi-level lounge was sturdy, but now it was time to breathe life into this space, to transform it from a mere structure into a cozy retreat that reflected our family's spirit and creativity. Designing the lounge space would be an exciting endeavor, filled with opportunities for personalization and expression. The first step in this creative journey was deciding how to furnish each level. I wanted each area to serve a specific purpose while still feeling interconnected. The ground level would serve as the welcoming entry point, a space where we could kick off our shoes and relax after climbing up from the ground. I imagined soft cushions sprawled across benches made from reclaimed wood, providing ample seating for family gatherings or quiet moments spent reading. To create an inviting atmosphere, I decided on a color palette that echoed nature's beauty, earthy greens, warm browns, and pops of bright colors that mirrored the flowers blooming in our garden. I envisioned cushions in vibrant patterns, perhaps with floral motifs that would add a touch of whimsy. These details would not only enhance comfort but also create an environment where we could unwind and appreciate the beauty of our surroundings. As I began gathering materials for furnishings, I involved my children in the decision-making process. We went on trips to local thrift stores and home improvement shops, exploring options for cushions, rugs, and decorations. They were thrilled to pick out their favorite colors and patterns, and their enthusiasm infused our design choices with a sense of joy. We even stumbled upon some second-hand chairs that had character, slightly weathered yet charming, which we decided would make great additions to our lounge. Next came the second level, a space dedicated to creativity and exploration. This area was meant to inspire imagination and activity, so I envision it filled with art supplies, bookshelves brimming with stories waiting to be read, and cozy nooks perfect for quiet reflection or collaborative projects. To encourage artistic ventures, we plan to install a small easel along one wall where my children could paint or draw whenever they felt inspired. In addition to the easel, I decided to create a mini craft station featuring storage bins filled with materials like colored paper, markers, scissors, and glue. It would be a place where we could work on projects together, perhaps making seasonal decorations or gifts for family members. The opportunity for creativity in this space excited me. It would be a hub of laughter and shared experiences. As we moved upward to design the observation deck on the top level, I wanted to cultivate an atmosphere that encouraged relaxation and connection with nature. This area would have fewer furnishings but would be adorned with comfortable seating that allowed us to soak in the views surrounding us. Perhaps a couple of oversized bean bags or loungers that invited us to lay back and gaze at the sky. To enhance this experience even further, I envision installing a small telescope near one of the windows, an invitation for stargazing nights filled with wonder as we searched for constellations together. We could take turns spotting planets or simply enjoying the serenity of being high above while nestled among trees. Lighting played an essential role in designing our treehouse lounge as well. I sought ways to create warm ambience throughout each level. For the main area on the ground floor, string lights would drape from beams overhead, not only illuminating the space during evening gatherings, but also adding an enchanting touch reminiscent of fairy tales. On the upper levels, I planned to incorporate lanterns hanging from branches outside, casting delicate shadows as twilight descended upon us. These soft lights would provide warmth while creating an inviting atmosphere perfect for storytelling or sharing secrets among siblings under starry skies. As part of my design vision, I also wanted each level decorated with elements that represented our family's journey, the memories we had created thus far, and those still waiting to unfold within this magical treehouse lounge. We decided on creating a family mural on one wall of the second level, a colorful depiction of our adventures, camping trips under starry skies, beach days building sandcastles, or hiking trails taken together. The mural would not only serve as a visual representation of cherished moments, but also become an ongoing project, something we could all contribute to over time as new memories were made. My children eagerly brainstormed ideas for imagery they wanted included. Their excitement made me realize how deeply connected this space would be to their growth and experiences. The final touches involved adding personal decorative elements throughout the lounge, a collection of handmade crafts adorning shelves or framed photographs capturing special milestones displayed proudly on walls. Each piece added character while reminding us of how far we had come together as a family. With each design decision made, from furniture selection down to lighting arrangements, I felt a sense of fulfillment growing within me. The multi-level treehouse lounge was evolving into more than just a physical space. It was transforming into a sanctuary infused with love, laughter, creativity, and connection, everything I had hoped it would be. As I stepped back once more to survey our creation, the culmination of hard work infused with imagination, I couldn't help but smile at what lay ahead. Countless hours spent sharing stories under its sheltering branches, afternoons filled with art projects, evenings spent gazing at twinkling stars above, all woven seamlessly into our family tapestry within this enchanting treehouse lounge. With a multi-level treehouse lounge finally complete, I felt a wave of satisfaction wash over me. The vision I had nurtured through planning and hard work was now a beautiful reality. It stood proudly among the trees, inviting us to enjoy countless adventures together as a family. However, as much as I reveled in our creation, I knew that the true test lay ahead. How would our neighbors and the community react to this whimsical structure? The day after we finished decorating the treehouse, I decided to host a small gathering to celebrate its completion. I invited friends and neighbors over for an afternoon filled with laughter, snacks, and tours of our new outdoor haven. My children buzzed with excitement, eager to show off their handiwork and share their favorite spots within the treehouse. As guests began to arrive, I couldn't help but feel a mix of anticipation and nerves. Would they appreciate our creative endeavor? Would anyone be disapproving or critical? After all, I had experienced the sting of rejection from the HOA regarding my porch swing. I hoped this new project would be seen as a positive contribution rather than a violation of community standards. The first neighbors to arrive were the Johnsons from down the street. Their daughters were instantaneously drawn to the treehouse, their eyes lighting up with delight as they squealed in excitement. "Can we go up?" one of them asked eagerly. With a smile, I led them through the ladder and into the inviting lounge space. The moment they stepped inside, their faces transformed into expressions of wonder. As more neighbors trickled in, it became clear that curiosity outweighed skepticism. Laughter echoed throughout the yard as kids climbed up and down, racing each other to see who could reach the top level first. Parents mingled nearby, sipping lemonade while sharing stories about their own childhood adventures in treehouses. However, amidst all the joy and excitement, I noticed a few hesitant glances from some of my more conservative neighbors, those who often adhered strictly to HOA guidelines. Their expressions seemed to indicate uncertainty about how this vibrant addition fit into our neighborhood's aesthetic. While some were clearly enjoying themselves, others lingered on the fringes with an air of restraint. As conversations flowed and fun unfolded, I approached a couple of neighbors who had expressed concerns in the past about my original porch swing idea. They greeted me with polite smiles, but were quick to voice their reservations about the treehouse. "It's quiet, unique," one neighbor remarked cautiously, searching for the right words. I took a deep breath and responded genuinely, explaining my vision behind building the treehouse, a sanctuary for family bonding and creativity that would encourage outdoor play and exploration rather than confinement indoors. "It's not just about aesthetics," I emphasized. "It's about creating experiences and memories." To my surprise, this conversation sparked curiosity rather than defensiveness. They began asking questions about construction choices and design elements, intrigued by how we managed to create such a whimsical space within HOA parameters. This shift marked a turning point in our interactions. Instead of seeing it as a challenge against community rules, they began appreciating it as an imaginative solution. As the afternoon progressed, more families joined us for tours of the Treehouse Lounge. Children giggled while exploring every nook and cranny, swinging from hammocks or reading books in cozy corners, while adults started sharing stories about their childhood dreams of having treehouses just like ours. Overhearing these conversations filled me with warmth. It became evident that this space was not just ours anymore, but had transformed into something shared among neighbors, a place where imaginations could run free regardless of age. However, not everyone was entirely on board with our new addition. A few days after the gathering, I received another letter from the HOA outlining concerns regarding potential violations due to structural changes made in our yard without prior approval. My heart sank. I had hoped that community spirit would help smooth over any lingering tensions. Determined not to back down from this challenge, I decided to address these concerns head-on rather than retreating into silence. Instead of viewing it as an adversarial situation, I reached out for a meeting with members of the HOA board so we could discuss our creation openly. During our meeting, I presented photos showcasing both my family's enjoyment within the treehouse and its contribution toward fostering neighborhood connections, something that initially seemed lost in bureaucratic assessments. To my relief, several board members were touched by our story. They began to see beyond regulations toward what truly mattered: community enrichment and shared joy. Through open dialogue and understanding on both sides, acknowledging their commitment to maintaining neighborhood standards while also celebrating creativity, we ultimately found common ground. The HOA agreed to review future projects collaboratively rather than simply enforcing restrictions without consideration for individual expression. This experience taught me valuable lessons about resilience amidst resistance, how creativity could flourish even when faced with challenges, and how bridging gaps between differing perspectives could lead toward growth rather than division. As time passed after our initial gathering at the Treehouse Lounge, the laughter echoing through its walls continued long after. It became clear that this project had transcended beyond mere wooden nails. It symbolized connection between families within our community while fostering an environment where dreams could take root amidst nature's embrace. With the Treehouse Lounge now a beloved fixture in our yard, It quickly became more than just a personal retreat. It transformed into a vibrant gathering spot for family and friends alike. The moment we opened its doors, it felt as though we had unlocked a treasure trove of laughter, creativity, and connection. One sunny Saturday afternoon, I decided to host a casual get-together to celebrate the arrival of spring. I invited neighbors, friends, and their children, eager to share our treehouse with everyone. My kids buzzed with excitement as they helped set the scene, hanging colorful streamers from branches and arranging cushions on the lower level. As guests began to arrive, the atmosphere filled with an infectious energy. Children raced toward the treehouse, their laughter echoing through the yard. It was heartwarming to see them climb up and down the ladder, exploring each level with wide-eyed wonder. The lower level became a cozy nook where kids gathered to share stories and snacks while their parents mingled nearby. I had prepared a spread of simple treats, finger sandwiches, fruit skewers, and homemade lemonade, all set up on a picnic blanket near the base of the treehouse. As adults enjoyed their refreshments, they couldn't help but admire the whimsical design of our creation. Conversations flowed easily as people exchanged stories about their own childhood adventures in treehouses or similar structures. One of my neighbors, Lisa, approached me with a smile. I never thought I'd like having something like this in our neighborhood," she admitted, glancing up at the treehouse with newfound appreciation. "But seeing how much joy it brings everyone has completely changed my perspective." Her words made me realize just how far we had come since that initial rejection from the HOA. The Treehouse Lounge had become a symbol of connection, a space where community bonds were forged through shared experiences and laughter. As the gathering continued, we decided to organize some fun activities for both kids and adults. We set up an impromptu art station on the second level, complete with paints and canvases so that everyone could express their creativity. The kids eagerly took to painting while parents joined in, creating masterpieces that would soon adorn our walls as cherished memories. Upstairs on the observation deck, small groups formed as families took turns using our telescope to gaze at birds flitting between branches or even catch glimpses of distant clouds drifting by. The sense of wonder in their eyes reminded me why I had built this structure in the first place, to invite exploration and connection with nature. As evening approached, we lit strings of fairy lights that draped from beams overhead, instantly transforming our treehouse into an enchanting retreat bathed in soft glow. The ambience shifted. Laughter turned into whispers as families began sharing stories about their lives under the shimmering light. At one point during the evening, I noticed my children nestled together in the hammock chair on the first level, each engrossed in a book while surrounded by their friends. It struck me then how this space was not only encouraging imaginative play, but also fostering meaningful connections among children who might not have known each other otherwise. Throughout that night, we shared memories over s'mores roasted over a nearby fire pit. The warmth radiating around us mirrored the camaraderie blossoming within our community. As marshmallows toasted and chocolate melted between graham crackers, conversations deepened. Friendships grew stronger amid laughter punctuated by crackling flames. The success of that gathering marked just the beginning of many more celebrations held within our Treehouse Lounge. Birthdays were celebrated beneath its branches. Holiday gatherings flourished with decorations draped throughout every level. Even spontaneous movie nights unfolded under twinkling stars. In addition to hosting events for friends and neighbors, we embraced opportunities to invite local organizations into our space too. We partnered with community groups to hold outdoor reading sessions for children during summer breaks, turning our treehouse into an educational hub for young minds eager to explore new worlds through literature. As word spread about this magical gathering spot nestled among trees, more families began reaching out, some asking if they could reserve time for special occasions or simply drop by for casual visits whenever they felt inspired. The Treehouse Lounge quickly evolved into a beloved community landmark, a place where joy thrived amidst nature's embrace while bridging gaps between different families within our neighborhood. It represented resilience against early challenges faced, including HOA restrictions, proving how creativity could transform obstacles into opportunities for connection. Reflecting on these experiences brought an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. What started as a personal dream forged through adversity had blossomed into something far greater than I ever anticipated. A gathering space that fostered relationships among families who now felt closer than ever before. Looking ahead toward future gatherings within this cherished sanctuary filled with love and laughter, I felt empowered knowing that together we could continue nurturing bonds while creating lasting memories. The multi-level Treehouse Lounge wasn't just ours anymore. It belonged to all who stepped inside its welcoming embrace, a true testament to community spirit and creativity flourishing under open skies. As the Treehouse Lounge became a cherished gathering space in our community, I found myself reflecting on the journey that had brought me to this point. The initial rejection of my porch swing had felt like a barrier, but had ultimately led to the creation of something far more meaningful, a multi-level retreat that fostered connection and joy. However, I knew that navigating the rules of the HOA was still an ongoing challenge. After hosting several successful gatherings and witnessing the positive impact the treehouse had on our neighborhood, I received another letter from the HOA. This time, it was not just a notification, it was a request for a formal review of the treehouse structure. I felt a wave of anxiety wash over me as I read through their concerns regarding compliance with community guidelines. Would they see this vibrant creation as a violation or embrace it as an asset to our neighborhood? Determined to address these concerns proactively, I reached out to the HOA board to request a meeting. My goal was simple: to share our story, showcase the treehouse's role in fostering community connections, and ensure that we remain compliant with their guidelines going forward. I wanted to bridge any gaps between us and demonstrate that creativity could coexist with regulations. On the day of the meeting, I gathered my materials, photos of the treehouse, testimonials from neighbors who had benefited from its presence, and even a few artistic contributions from my children that captured their experiences within it. I wanted to present a compelling case showing how this space enriched our lives while adhering to safety standards. When I arrived at the HOA office, I was greeted by several board members who had expressed skepticism about the treehouse in previous communications. As we settled into the meeting room, I could sense a mixture of curiosity and caution in their demeanor. This was my chance to share what truly motivated me to build the structure and how it had transformed our family life. I began by recounting how my desire for outdoor relaxation and connection inspired me to create the treehouse after being denied my porch swing. I shared heartwarming stories about families coming together within its walls, how children forged friendships through shared experiences, and how gatherings sparked laughter and joy throughout our neighborhood. As I displayed photos of smiling faces enjoying art activities on sunny afternoons or cozy evenings spent stargazing from the top level, I caught glimpses of board members exchanging glances, some nodding in understanding while others appeared intrigued. It felt like a breakthrough moment. They were beginning to see beyond regulations towards something more significant: community spirit. Throughout our discussion, board members raised valid points regarding safety concerns and structural integrity. They asked about materials used in construction and whether proper permits had been obtained for such an endeavor. Admittedly, there were aspects where I could have been better informed prior to building, details that might have facilitated smoother communication with them earlier on. I took their feedback seriously and assured them that my family would prioritize safety moving forward. We would seek out professional advice for any future enhancements or modifications made to ensure compliance with HOA guidelines while maintaining the essence of what made our treehouse special. By approaching this meeting with openness and willingness to adapt, rather than defensiveness or resistance, we established common ground rooted in understanding each other's perspectives. The board expressed appreciation for my proactive approach and willingness to collaborate moving forward. We agreed on a set of guidelines. Any future projects involving additions or modifications would be submitted for review before construction began. Regular check-ins would occur with HOA representatives regarding maintenance or updates needed over time. Leaving that meeting felt liberating. It marked a turning point in not only how we communicated, but also how we perceived each other's roles within this community. Instead of viewing one another as adversaries standing on opposite sides of regulations, it transformed into an opportunity for collaboration aimed at enhancing our neighborhood collectively. As days turned into weeks following this meeting, The treehouse continued thriving as a gathering spot filled with laughter while remaining compliant with HOA expectations. Regular maintenance checks ensured its safety remained paramount while keeping lines of communication open between us all. Reflecting back upon this experience reminded me how important flexibility is when navigating restrictions imposed by others, whether they come from governing bodies or even personal relationships. By embracing collaboration rather than conflict, we could nurture creativity without compromising on safety or community standards. The journey toward adjusting to HOA rules may have started as daunting, but it evolved into something beautiful, a partnership built upon mutual respect, a shared commitment toward enhancing not just individual homes but also fostering connections among neighbors under open skies. As we moved forward together, I felt hopeful knowing that our multi-level treehouse lounge symbolized resilience against challenges faced, one that thrived amidst creative expression while honoring community values at its core. As I stood in the treehouse lounge, enveloped by the sound of laughter and the gentle rustle of leaves, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought me here. What had begun as a simple desire for a porch swing had transformed into something far more significant, a multi-level treehouse that had become a cherished sanctuary for my family and a vibrant gathering place for our community. Over the past few months, this structure had witnessed countless moments of joy. From birthday celebrations filled with cake and balloons to impromptu art sessions where imagination ran wild, the treehouse had become an integral part of our lives. It was more than just wood and nails. It was a symbol of resilience, creativity, and connection. It stood as a testament to how setbacks could pave the way for unexpected opportunities. Looking around at all the colorful cushions, handmade decorations, and the joyful faces of friends and neighbors, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The initial worries about how the HOA would react had faded into the background. Instead, I found myself surrounded by a community that had embraced this whimsical creation with open arms. The Treehouse Lounge was not just mine. It belonged to everyone who stepped inside its welcoming embrace. With this realization came a new wave of inspiration. I began to think about future plans for the treehouse, how we could continue to enhance this space while ensuring it remained a focal point for fun and creativity in our neighborhood. There were so many ideas swirling in my mind, each brimming with potential. First and foremost, I wanted to expand our community involvement further. I envisioned organizing regular events like outdoor movie nights, where families could gather under the stars to enjoy classic films together. We could set up blankets on the grass below, serve popcorn from a portable cart, and let laughter fill the air as we shared stories over flickering screens. I also considered seasonal celebrations, perhaps hosting fall harvest festivals complete with pumpkin carving contests or springtime picnics featuring homemade treats prepared together. The treehouse could serve as a hub for these gatherings, a warm and inviting space where connections flourished amid shared experiences. In addition to social events, I wanted to incorporate educational opportunities that would benefit both children and adults in our community. Collaborating with local experts, we could host workshops focused on arts and crafts or gardening techniques that would empower everyone to explore their creativity while learning new skills. Imagine children painting nature scenes or adults crafting beautiful decorations for their homes, all while surrounded by the beauty of our backyard. Moreover, I contemplated transforming parts of the treehouse into dedicated spaces for different activities. For example, one level could be equipped as a mini library filled with books donated by neighbors, an inviting corner where readers of all ages could escape into worlds crafted by words. Another area could feature a small stage for performances, an opportunity for budding artists to share their talents among supportive friends and family. As these ideas began taking shape in my mind, I reached out to neighbors once more to gather feedback on what they would like to see happen at our beloved Treehouse Lounge. Their enthusiasm was palpable. Many expressed excitement about participating in events or contributing ideas of their own. One neighbor even suggested creating a community garden nearby, an extension of our treehouse experience that would foster collaboration while beautifying our shared outdoor space further. This garden could produce fresh vegetables and herbs that we could use during gatherings or share among families, truly cultivating both relationships and sustenance. Reflecting on these future plans reminded me of how far we had come since that initial setback with the porch swing ban. What felt like an obstacle had instead proven transformative, a catalyst for building something extraordinary alongside my family and friends. As I stood there in the treehouse lounge with my children nestled beside me on cushions, their laughter resonating throughout its walls, I felt immense gratitude wash over me. Each moment spent here reinforced what truly mattered: connection, creativity, and resilience against obstacles faced along this journey. With excitement bubbling within me about all possibilities ahead, I knew this was only just the beginning. The multi-level treehouse lounge awaited us, a canvas upon which countless adventures still lay ahead, waiting patiently beneath open skies adorned with dreams yet realized. In closing, I am reminded that life often leads us down winding paths filled with unexpected turns. Through patience, creativity, and collaboration, we can transform setbacks into opportunities that enrich not only our lives but also those around us. As we look forward toward new adventures together, I can't wait to see how our story continues unfolding amidst laughter shared within this enchanting space. The end.